Hello students, welcome to BYJU'S classes. Now after completing the Harappan civilization, the last topic of which we had dealt with the destruction of that civilization, with how that civilization came to an end, today we are going to start a new chapter, a very important from the perspective of both the prelims as well as mains, and that chapter is your Vedic civilization. Now, when we were talking about the end of the Harappan dynasty, the Harappan civilization, we had taken the name of the word Aryans. We had talked about a bit on the Aryans. And we know about these Aryans in our country from the various Vedic texts. That is, later on, we'll see that your Vedas plus other books like Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads, epics, etc. These all come and they are termed as Vedic texts. Don't worry about this. This we shall be looking at the last of this chapter. But amongst all these, the most important, there are 4 Vedas, and out of these 4, the most important, the first one is the Rig Veda. And this Rig Veda, which is the oldest text, the earliest specimen of the Indo-European language, and the chief source of information on the history of that period, talks extensively about these Aryans. And from them only we come to know about them. That is, from the Rig Veda, we have come to know about these Aryans. Now, when it comes to where have these Aryans come from, there are lots of theories concerning where these people have come from. Different historians have given their different theories regarding the original place of these Aryans. But the most important and the widely accepted one is the theory that's been given by Max Muller. Max Muller is giving the theory, and according to his theory, these Aryans are semi-nomadic people. That is, they are no more nomads. They have crossed that thing, but still they have not come into the settled life. They are the pastoral people. And where are they from? They are from your Central Asia. So very clearly, these Aryans, according to Max Muller, are the people who have come to India from the Caspian Sea in Central Asia. Around the Caspian Sea, they were living. And how do they come to India? They come to India via the Khyber Pass. Through this, they have crossed the Hindu Kush mountains around 1500 BC, and thus they have entered India. Not only the Rig Veda, but even the Holy Book of Iran, the Zend-Avesta, that also confirms something of this sort. That also indicates that these Aryans would have entered India through this route, that is via Iran. And these Aryans did not have to look for the routes to Indian subcontinent because the Harappans had already gone via these passes, these high passes of the Hindu Kush, and they had reached the Amu Darya river in this Central Asia. Now we already know the reason of these Harappans to go and cross. That was for the trading purpose. And so here also near Amu Darya, they had a trading post which was known as Shotughai. Now, when we study the Vedic civilization, we divide this into 2 parts. That is the early Vedic phase and the later Vedic phase. The early Vedic phase is around 1500 to 1000 BC, whereas the later Vedic phase is around 1000 to 600 BC. The early Vedic phase is also known by the name Rig Vedic phase because this is the phase in which the Rig Veda had already been composed. Most of the hymns of Rig Veda, we'll see that later, that there are some 1028 hymns altogether in this Rig Veda. And most of them were composed in this era. That's why your early Vedic phase is known as the Rig Vedic phase. Whereas the later Vedic phase is your Vedic phase where your other 3 Vedas like Samved, Yajurved and Atharvaved were composed. During this time only, apart from these Vedas, the other branches of these Vedas like the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, the epics, the Upanishads, about which we shall be talking at the last of this lecture, all of them had been composed. So now starting with your early Vedic phase or the Rig Vedic phase, that is in your 1500 to 1000 BC, we shall be starting that. Now, what exactly is Rig Veda? We just now said it's the collection of 1028 hymns, which we shall look later. It's 1017 plus 11 Vyakalikas. What they are doing is, we shall be talking about this later on, so don't worry as of now. So what it is, it's the collection of these hymns or the prayers, and these prayers have been offered to whom? They have been offered to the gods of those days like Agni, Indra, Varun. And who has offered them? This has been offered by poets, by the rishis or the sages. All of these people have offered them. From Rig Veda only, we come to know at that point of time there were some 33 gods. And these gods of that period could be divided into 3 categories. Now understand why we shall be studying everything in detail, because there might be a question to write about, let's say, the religion of the Rig Vedic era or the religion of the Vedic era. And there you will have to write all these things that we are going to now talk about. So now these 3, what are the 3? The terrestrial, the earthly, that is, either they are known by the name of the terrestrial god or the earthly gods, or the gods which are living on Prithvi, that is Prithvi Sthana. Who would be these types of gods? Those who are living on the earth. Who are living on the earth? First, Prithvi. We worship our land. Agni, that is fire. That's also on the terrestrial. Soma, Brihaspati, the rivers, that is the different nadis like Saraswati, that Ganga. How come these Ganga and all become so pious, so worthy of prayer and everything? It's because from this era only they are grouped under the terrestrial gods. Then from terrestrial we move to the next set of the gods that are in the air, the aerial gods. That is atmospheric or aerial, or in the Antariksha Sthana. That is, these gods, they are the intermediaries. They are somebody who is not living on the land. They have moved above that. And who might be these? They might be gods like Indra, Marut, Rudra, Vayu, Apah, that is water. Apah meaning water. These are your gods, which are your aerial gods. And finally, the third type of god, the heavenly, the celestial or the heavenly or the Dyu-sthana. That is both the places. Dyu, 2. At 2 sthanas they are living. And who these might be? Gods like Surya, Aditi, Savitri, Pushan, Dyasus, Varuna, Adityas, Vishnu, Mitra. Remember, Aditi, Savitri, clearly indicating that goddesses are also there. Not only gods, but goddesses are also there. So you can very clearly see with the names like Aditi, Savitri, or even Usha, these names clearly indicate that even in the Rig Vedic phase, we have been worshipping the goddesses. Apart from this, understand gods like Indra, gods like Varun, these are the supreme cosmic and the moral ruler. The Varuna is the supreme cosmic and the moral ruler. And these gods, they stand out in that order. That is, they are preeminent above the rest. Just like those who know Hindu mythology, they would know Indra is the king of all the gods. So he is preeminent above the other kings. Other than this, Agni and Soma are 2 very famous and very important deities of that era, with Agni being most important because it is the only god who is regarded to be present in all the categories of the god, whether it is terrestrial, whether it is aerial, or whether it is heavenly. Because Agni is seen as the messenger between the earth and the heaven. Right from terrestrial via aerial to the heavenly, the thing that can take your prayers is your Agni. And that's why in Hindu mythology or in the Hindu culture, you will see so much of emphasis being given on the Agni. That is your fire. Remember here, these gods at that point of time, they are described as born. That is, their birth is shown. They are shown as humans at times, but then they are also shown to be immortal, that they will not die. So Indra or Varuna, they have been born, but they are also immortal. In appearance, they have been given the form of humans, though sometimes also the form of animal. For example, the god Surya, the sun god, is shown as a swift horse. We can see the god Surya is many times depicted as a swift horse. Throughout this chapter, we shall be talking a lot about the sacrifices. That is, a lot of things are given to the gods. The things might be the ordinary food that men like us might be consuming, like milk, the grain, even the animals, that is flesh. And all these are offered to these kings, these gods, and they are shown to have become the food of the gods. Most of the times, these gods are kind in nature, but sometimes they might be unkind too. So, for example, the gods like Rudra or Marut, they at times may be unkind too. But all the gods, they are shown that they have some common attributes, and most of these attributes are like splendor, strength, knowledge, position, and truth. These are the attributes of all these deities of that period. One of the very important things, Gayatri Mantra, which is recited by the pious Hindus even today, is coming from this, where from which place we shall be looking at the later stage of this chapter. There are lots and lots of gods. There is a multiplicity of gods, and all these gods have got the different designations, which we have just now seen by putting them into the three different sets of the gods. But across all the gods, the one thing that's united is that there is an ultimate unity as far as the universe is concerned. That is, this universe is the creation of one God. And this God, this ultimate creation, is the outcome of the sacrifice made by the Virat Purush, or the evolution from non-being manifested in the form of water. So here, according to Hindu mythology, the thing that is the life comes from water and through Virat Purusha. That is, it's mentioned in the Hiranyagarbha that from the great waters, Hiranyagarbha, that is, from the great waters, there was all this life came into existence. In the hymn, there is the mention of Vishwakarman. That is, it is said that he is the firstborn in the universe, the creator or the maker of the world. And this Vishwakarman has arose from the floating world egg, and from there this all starts. Apart from this, the Rig Veda, which we will see later on, is divided into the 10 mandalas or the books, and there only you will see that the book 1 and this 10th is the later addition, which clearly indicates this all is not in a chronological order. Has mentioned a lot of things. For example, the 4 rivers of Afghanistan, they are clearly described in the Rig Vedas. These rivers are Kubha, Krumu, Gomti or Gomal, and Suvastu, that is Swat. Now, because of the Aryans, they had come via the Khyber Pass, via the Afghanistan. That's why what is happening is that they are considering these areas, these mountains from where they have come, as very holy. And that's why in Rig Veda, Meru, a mountain which is described towards north of the Himalayas, beyond the Himalayas, is shown as the divine abode of the gods in your books like Mahabharata and even the Puranas. The Rig Veda has got a lot of similarities to the Zend-Avesta, about which we have talked earlier, which is the oldest text in your Iranian language. These two texts, both of them are using a lot of same names for several gods and even for social classes. In the Rig Vedic phase, it is said that the dead man's soul is departed to the waters of the plants